Welcome everybody to the Between the Points podcast today, and we're super excited because Max is here from Florida. He's one of the coaches here, and he found some time to chat about his story and what it takes to be a collegiate player and what colleges are looking for. Max, how are you doing today?
Greg, I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad we put this together. It was kind of spur of the moment, a couple messages back and forth online, and here we are now. So it's great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I'm very grateful that you found a way to make this happen. It's always fun, just like boom, boom, and then making it work because that's all it's all
Yeah,
about.
that's how good things happen, though.
Yes, sir. So Max, maybe you can kind of start us out and tell us a little bit about your history, about how you got into coaching college
Yeah,
tennis.
that's a great question. I mean, first of all, I'm a coach here at the University of Florida now, and I graduated from the University of Florida, so I didn't have the stereotypical background that a lot of the coaches at this level have. I came here to school as a regular student and had a really, really special experience here. Was very involved and invested in the tennis here at Florida as one of the student managers for the women's team under Coach Roland Thornquist. And at the time, the team was number one in the country. Really, really, really good program. So I was able to spend a lot of time with them on scholarship as a student manager and also running the club program here in Gainesville, which for those who don't know, especially pre-COVID, it was a really, really great level, great experience at that age, running a large organization. And we got that team up to top five in the country. That was really great. So I wasn't necessarily playing in school, but I graduated with a great background in tennis
Yeah,
and leadership and development in that way. And then I go home to Daytona Beach. And for those who don't know, that's where I'm from, Daytona Beach, Florida. And an opportunity arose where a small HBCU Division I school, Bethune-Cookman, they gave me a call because they had a full-time assistant position available. And I just took the call, ran with it, and however many years later, maybe 7 years later, 8 years later, I'm here coaching at my alma mater. So it's been a whirlwind, but that's kind of how it all started for me.
that's awesome. I'm actually very interested about your story. You didn't come from like a background of playing at a super high level. I mean, obviously you're
Yeah.
very passionate. What do you find that what benefit do you see that just coming from like a coach's perspective versus a player perspective? Is there any benefits to
You know,
that?
I think you just come at it from two angles. I think you see some of the best college coaches of all time actually didn't have necessarily the greatest playing backgrounds. I think in this environment, in a college coaching environment, there's so much more to it than just the X's and O's of player development and the very basis of all of it. You have to be incredibly passionate about what you do. You're not in this for the money. You're in this for the experience and trying to work with young people and build great teams. You have to have a great work ethic, right? Those two pillars. Those are things that I was fortunate enough to be raised to where I do have that. And then in regards to your original question, with not having I feel like it's allowed me more freedom to kind of coach players with less of a personal bias to my own experience of playing tennis. Obviously, I played at a good level, but I'm really able to look at a player and not see it from any lens of my own experience coming up. Rather, I'm able to kind of look at it very objectively. And as a result of that, I kind of have a blank slate with every player I work with. And I think that kind of perspective allows me to have an open mind to really everything that comes at me because every tennis player is different, and you certainly can't coach everyone the same. And then obviously in regards to the tennis at this level, listen, I've worked for some great programs at this point of my career. I mean, I got to spend time at Bethune-Cookman, Stetson, two great Florida Division I mid-majors, and then I went out to University of Oklahoma, OU, which was my first kind of taste of the big time, and then went out west to UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara, which was a great program. I think they're going to indoors this week. They're 13 in the country. Went back to Oklahoma State, working with a high level program there. We were top 25, and now to the Florida Gators. So over the course of those experiences and really, really studying the game at a high level, you're able to really provide a lot of insight to these guys as they're trying to take their game to the pro level. It's certainly a lot of hard work though, and you got to make sure to do a ton of homework and study the game thoroughly.
I agree 100%. I mean, we can just think about the story of Nick Bellateri. Not a lot of people know that he was just like a 4.045 player. He wasn't
That's right.
nothing like,
Yeah.
he wasn't like coming from this big background, and he just created this environment, and he found ways to motivate and inspire the players that he's working with. Because as a coach, I believe that we can, and to your point, just seeing outside of the box and being outside of the box,
Yeah.
which is helpful to coach different players. What's the difference between like junior tennis going into college tennis?
So I didn't include this in my story. I was able to coach for 2 years at a junior tennis academy in Daytona Beach, a high
Awesome.
performance tennis academy. And so as a result of that, you're really able to see kind of the junior transition into the college ranks. And that was frankly, an invaluable experience, especially now with the recruiting piece and knowing the landscape that you're dealing with. I think the biggest thing between junior tennis and tennis, especially at this level at a place like Florida, is the in juniors, it's a lot about development. It's a lot about trying to play for your future self. It's a lot about trying to have great technique and great skills. And then you come to a place like Florida, some of these major institutions where it's basically pro level tennis. And it's a lot about physicality. It's a lot about mentality. It's a lot about your day to day habits, your professionalism, and where you can find that extra 1, 2, 3% in order to break through at this level, then ultimately at the pro level. I think that junior tennis is a lot more holistic in the regard where you're trying to play for your future self, and here your future self is right now.
How does it affect for players to be all of a sudden go from like juniors where it's just about themselves, now they're on a team? How do
Yeah.
you create an environment, a environment where it is a team? It's not just about you coming from the juniors?
I don't think I could be at a better place in the country than to learn that concept. That working for Coach Adam Steinberg, that is our entire philosophy here is playing for a team over yourself, and it's really hard, man. Listen, I mean these players they grow up traveling around the world, traveling around the country, some locally. I mean, where you name it, trying to build their resume, their profile, and trying to climb up a pecking order, so to speak, to ultimately pursue their dreams, and that requires a certain level of, it doesn't have to, but selfishness in regards of taking care of yourself, and you're trying to win for yourself and your family and your team. And then you come here to college and all of a sudden you're one of 9, 10 excellent players. And you have 3 full-time coaches here, for example, but our goal and our objective is to get the Florida Gators to do well over even just the individual person, right? And so that
Yeah,
that that in itself takes a certain level of maturity, and it takes some time for guys to come in and understand that difference. But here, especially, we're so bought into playing like unified on the dual match court with team energy and a lot of passion and enthusiasm for Florida. And we preach that every single day in practice. So over the course of time, that becomes a habit. It becomes ingrained into the language and how you speak. And that's our ultimate goal. So I feel really good about that experience here, because some programs, man, around the country are, to no fault of their own, are excellent, but they still tailor more of the individual style towards the players when they come into school, which is awesome to their own right. But here it's about playing for a team, and I think you probably saw that when you came out and watched us play in New York. We've got a lot of guys that are running between courts, giving each
yeah.
other high fives, playing for each other. You can't hide that level of enthusiasm and passion.
Yes, I totally agree. That's the one thing that I think that stood out in that match. Because for those of you who are listening, I ended up at the Columbia versus Florida match. And the one thing that stood out with you guys is the culture of support and the team that you
Yep.
had. And it was just, you could see, because it makes a difference. It makes such an impact when you've got your teammates cheering you on and it's a team thing and you're going, and that's that little edge that sometimes that the players need. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing that.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
appreciate it. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment to us. And I certainly can speak for Coach Steinberg and Coach Rossi, the other 2 members of the staff. We're far from a final product, and we're pushing for even more than what you saw.
Exactly. Talk to me about habits, because you hit up on something here in between the points. That's our focus, is the mental game. And
Mhm.
big part of tennis is creating habits. What habits do you think are helpful for tennis players to succeed at the junior level and college level and then ultimately to the pro level?
Listen, it's a tricky question because there's a lot of talented tennis players out there that do quite well that don't necessarily have the greatest habits. But at the end of the day, in order to have consistency and performance, in order to have a great baseline, to have your average day be very, very high, you need to have great disciplines and great routines, habits on a day-to-day basis in order to make that happen. I think that's oftentimes where you see those really pay off. I mean, you can have terrible habits and have one great match that you could think about, but you could have eight or nine matches that are maybe below the belt that aren't quite the level that you're looking for. I think that's a big piece for when players come to college, actually, because even in junior tennis, you go through and it's very much you're kind of doing your own thing. You're going around like you don't have a lot of people to answer to. Here, you get put into a locker room environment with young men and women, and you're trying your best to meet the day-to-day disciplines of the program. And these players here, they're in the training room every single day on regular sleep schedules. You have to eat well. You have a nutritionist. There's so many things that you have to do around the game that allows you to be able to play at the best level you can.
And what part does the mental side come in? How do you
The
guys
men,
train? How do you guys train the mental side?
That's a great question, man. I think here, kind of touching back to what we previously talked about, the mental side for us is coming with a great sense of energy and focus by playing with the team. And so we're really, really big here on managing and maintaining great body language as a result of it affecting the people around you. So we hold players accountable at a high level to their body language and their responses after winning and losing points, especially on the practice court. So that's for one. And two, you really have to get to know your players. We spend a lot of time with these guys, making sure to meet with them, hearing from their backgrounds, understanding what they're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and kind of meeting a player where they're at. Some days you could come in and you're not always going to be at a 10 out of 10 every single day. And so I think communication at a high level with the coaching staff to the players and the players amongst each other really, really goes a long way there, just making sure people feel safe and comfortable on the court and understanding what they have given on the day.
That makes sense, right? Body language.
Yeah.
And what are some things that do you find helpful in body language?
Body language is probably the most important thing because it screams for the world to see, right? You could watch a tennis match, you could watch any sporting event, and if a player has good body language or bad body language, if a player has bad body language, you know that they're not doing well. And so our goal here is we don't want to be able to look at a player and our team on the court and know whether we're winning or losing because our energy and our focus and our determination is not dictated by outcome or score. It's about playing every single point um, as its own and playing every single point with the same intensity and purpose and playing the same. We also believe here it's really, really important to be external when you're playing, even though body language isn't necessarily, it kind of goes hand in hand here, but being really grunting on the ball, breathing out on the ball, and really having a great presence on the court during the point with just how much effort you're outputting into the shot. It's actually infectious, like going court to court, and it also provides you like with a lot more confidence as you're playing.
Interesting. You said that you guys are really encouraging players to be external. What if
External competitors, exactly
yeah,
right.
external competitors? What is that exact? Because that means like grunting, making sounds, celebrating. What if your player comes in and that's just not who they are? Do they find ways? How do you find ways to get him to be more of that? That's actually.
That's the challenge, man. I mean, you get guys from around the world, around the country that come in. They've played one way their whole life, right?
Mm,
And for us here, when guys come in and they first of all in the recruiting process, we kind of identify players that fit into that mold a little bit, so it's not
yeah.
so out of reach for them. But over the course of time, it becomes really, really hard if you love being on a team to not be that way, if that makes sense. Because if you have enough guys in the room that are really, really pouring into the environment, pouring into the practice, pouring into the match with their positivity, their grunting, their celebrations, great body language, you kind of want to do the same, right? So if you have enough people in the room that are doing it, then it becomes a little bit of a mirror effect.
Gotcha. You just kind of it becomes who you are. You are who you surround yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's just the nature of our program. I don't think anybody signs up to play for the Florida Gators and Coach Steinberg without wanting to be a spirited competitor. It's what it's all about.
Interesting. And you touched up on the recruiting process. Talk to us
Yeah.
about the recruiting process because I know that there's a lot of parents and kids that are wondering like how does one get into your view? Like how do you recognize talent and what are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. So especially nowadays in this new era of NCAA sports, we have roster cap management, and so we're only allowed to have 9 players on our team. And so every position is really, really valuable, and we have to do our due diligence and our homework to make sure that not only that we're vetting out the recruits that we're looking at, but their families as well, the people in their life, their coaches, and doing a really really all encompassing approach towards recruiting. We like to identify high character guys that have a proven winning track record, right? The combination of that is pretty important. I mean, I know everybody says that, but it's you can't really hide from a winning and losing record coming into school because you understand the nature of being able to of how to win. We have a great example of a player. He actually transferred from NJIT and he came here for 1 year, and so he played. He's here now. His name's Pablo Perez Ramos, and he was the number one player at NJIT, which is a smaller mid major Division I school, and his record there was incredible. He was 49-6 at number one over the course of 3 years. So some people would say coming in here, Florida's a higher level than that. Well, the guy's come in and he's done unbelievable, and he's had an undefeated start so far this season because he just loves to compete, knows how to win, and he loves being a part of a team. And we try to find as many guys like that as possible, because we're willing to overlook some higher profile guys on paper if they meet the criteria of what I'm talking about there, because we just believe in their character and what they do.
Tell me a little bit more about high character. What does that mean?
High character to me means hardworking, selfless, someone that wants to be a Florida Gator, right? We don't want to sit here and have to try to convince kids to come to school or try to convince kids that this is the best option for them. If you do your homework on a place like this, or really any Power Five, really top end Power Five institution in the country, you want to go to places like this, right? We don't. So to me, that's a big deal. Guys that want to be Florida Gators, and just with really good backgrounds with their coaches and their families when we're having these conversations and kind of hearing about them, making sure that those relationships there are good and solid, and that we're not seeing any red flags or friction with people in their inner circle.
Gotcha. And what about their family? What are you looking for as far as the family environment?
Well, I mean, listen, everybody's got a different family background, right?
Sure.
But we want with players just kind of hearing, just seeing how they interact with their families when we get on Zoom calls and when we see them on the practice court and at tournaments, just seeing how they interact with their parents, their brothers, their sisters. I included coaches as well. Just an element of respect and communication and making sure that you're recruiting these families and they're all so invested. It's not like just like you're recruiting one person, you know. You bring a player to a place like Florida, and then you're recruiting 4 or 5, 6 different people that have invested their whole lives into their son's tennis experience, and you want to make sure that you're really providing answers and an experience for all of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Total sense. I mean, I've been going to a lot more college matches and the families are there. You got the whole family invested. They're looking
Yeah.
and and it's a small little circle of just people that have been around this game for a long time because it's all very high level players.
Like I'll go ahead and say I like kids that are very independent, that have a background where maybe they've traveled a little bit on their own, where they've had to handle their own affairs, where their parents or their circle has allowed them to kind of develop independently and exercise their own freedom. And
So you want the kids to be independent and work hard and
yeah,
have a respect for their family and their coaches, right?
yeah,
Because that says a lot about the character. These families sacrifice so much for their kids, and these kids sacrifice so much. Having that sense of gratitude of like, hey, and this is an opportunity for them of a lifetime because it does come and go really quick. I mean, I had my own little experience with college. What has been for you one of the great gifts of being a coach, of experiencing being a coach?
and that's a great question. I can give you the typical answer, but it's the truth. It's the relationship with the players,
Right.
right? I mean, that has been incredibly special. I've gotten to be a part of a lot of different programs at an early stage of my career and been around the country, getting to work with student athletes all around the world, and obviously the relationships with the coaches I've worked with as well. I mean, the whole relationship piece is frankly what it's all about because you spend so much time with each other. You spend more time with each other than your own families, trying to achieve this common purpose, this common goal. And listen, I've been a part of coaching some winning some big matches in front of big crowds, right? And that feeling comes and goes pretty quick. The what you always lean on, what you always remember from all your experiences is the people that you did it with and the relationships that you have, and that's what it's been all about for me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's about the people, isn't it?
Yeah,
Life, like going around and just, I don't know. It's the juice in life, people.
that's right.
What has been one of the biggest challenges of being a college coach?
There's a lot of challenges, but I think if you want to do anything at a high level in life in any occupation, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice. I think probably just the level of time commitment that it requires. If you want to be really, really good at something, you do spend a lot of time on the road. You spend a lot of time away from your friends and family. But you do it knowing that you also get this ultimate dream of being able to pursue your dream, so to speak, and you get to coach a sport for a living, and that's just not too bad, you know. So I think there with every con there's a pro. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yes, exactly. For every wrong, there is a right, right? That's
That's
another way
right.
of saying it.
That there's perspective is a wonderful, wonderful tool.
Absolutely. And I think as we age, we see like, how precious this life is. I know I've had experiences in my life, recent experiences that just reminded me of just enjoy the moment.
That's right.
Because
That's absolutely right.
tomorrow is never promised. So Max, tell me, what is your big dream in all this? What's the big dream? The
It's
ultimate.
great. That's a great question. No, it's a great question. It sometimes it changes, but I think my ultimate goal is to be a head coach at the highest level in this industry, and have a great platform to where I can kind of facilitate my coaching vision, and really run my own program at the highest level possible one day. That's my goal. I know I've got a lot of steps to take until then, and a lot more coaching to do. But I feel like if I stay on the path that I'm on, then one day I'll be able to make that happen.
So the highest level for you is the college level, or is it the pro level? Or
I'd
is it
say
both?
right now probably the college level.
Okay.
I love college team tennis.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm necessary if my MO or my shtick would be a touring coach. I think just being able to build teams and be able to compete representing these universities with great history, that really it does something for me psychologically to where it's really motivating and inspiring. And so I think just coaching collegiate tennis at the highest level as a head coach.
I think the way you're going about it is great, and certainly you're taking all the steps appropriate, and we'll see you at the highest level running your own program, certainly.
Maybe,
Uh,
man.
may- couple quick questions to maybe get to know you a little bit better on the fun side. Okay, I always like
Okay.
to I
All
like
right.
to do quick five questions. All right. So, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food. This is an easy answer. It'll be a meal. It's a medium rare ribeye steak, with some sort of potato, asparagus, glass of red wine. That's what it would
Nice.
be.
The staple steak, baby.
Yeah, the whole
Red
meat and
meat.
potatoes, man.
Yeah, baby. I'm Polish, so that's definitely in my blood too. Favorite movie or favorite movies?
My favorite movie for as long as I can remember has been the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King. Spent a lot of time with my dad growing up. We would watch them. That was our favorite movie. So I'd go Lord of the Rings.
Is there something that you have a hidden talent about, or do you have a hidden talent?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I think I played. I was in the orchestra growing up. So I was 10 years in the orchestra playing the viola. So for those who don't know, that was my hidden talent. I don't know in the Division One tennis world whether that holds any relevance, but that's something I have in my back pocket.
Well, I think that definitely is a little bit of a hidden talent, something
It
people
is.
maybe not knowing about you for sure. That's awesome
Yeah, I
to
don't
hear
think
that.
many people know that. That would definitely be a first.
All right, yes. Um, so who who is one or what, who are some of your favorite tennis players?
That's a great question, man. I've got probably two answers for you. I grew up on Roger Federer, right during his peak Fed days. I would spend a lot of time with my dad, and we'd sit down and we'd watch him play at, like, the U.S. Open or the Masters tournaments, especially when he was on his run in '05, '06, '07. I mean, he was really, really great to watch. And I'm going to give a shout out to, I don't know him personally. I know a lot of people that do, but I got to give respect to the greatest college tennis player of all time, Steve Johnson. Watching his match streak run when I was much younger, and just seeing his success at USC and kind of following just even just on online and seeing everything that he was doing. That's pretty cool. So you got to pay respect to the best college tennis player.
Awesome. That's yeah, awesome. And then just finish up on this last five questions here. Your memory, your tennis memory that you go back to, whether it's a playing memory, whatever, watching memory, one of your memories that you just like really just your favorite memories.
I would say a couple of years ago, I was coaching at UCSB, and it was a really, really special group we had. Really, really good group of guys. Connected with them very well, and they had been working really hard. And so we started the season off great. I mean, I think we were 18-1 overall on a national schedule going into the end of March, and then I'd spent a lot of time working with Wayne Bryant, who's a UCSB alum. For those who don't know, Wayne Bryant's the Bryan brothers' father, and he did an amazing job for this big match that we had against Cal Berkeley to fill the stands in Santa Barbara with 400 500 people. And so the Gauchos are coming in 18-1 at home. We had the pep band out. Wayne Bryan filled the stands. We beat Cal Berkeley in a thriller 4-3 for the first time in program history, and it was just one of those really special moments that you look back and the players were very proud. The families were really, really happy. Obviously, it was a big moment for the coaches, and it's just one of those things you remember. So I think the environment that was created as a result of the fans and the momentum of the season, and then what the players did that day, that was a really cool moment.
Awesome. That sounds like a pretty amazing experience,
Yeah,
a
no,
lifelong memory.
it was good stuff.
We'll wrap it up here because I know you got to get going. You've got a meeting. And so, can you tell the junior players something? What can you tell about to keep them inspired or motivated or anything that they could know about their path to college that could help them out?
Yeah, I mean, I think junior tennis is so tricky because you come up and then there's rankings and there's results and there's a pecking order amongst the kids as to who's doing well and who's not and who gets to get recruited by the big schools and who doesn't. But there's so many stories and so many examples of great players that maybe peaked when they were older. They're, I don't know, 19, 20, 21, 22 that weren't necessarily the best junior in the world or didn't necessarily have the craziest background. And so I just say, just keep going, keep playing hard, keep developing, keep being passionate about the game, and you never know when your breakthrough moment is. And that part's the most exciting thing about the sport.
Awesome. I agree. I just want to say thank you for your time here. Where can people find you? Where's the best place to find you?
Best place to find me?
Yeah. Follow your
I mean,
story to follow to your
yeah, I
progress.
mean, I don't know. I've got an Instagram. I think it's Max_Koller.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that I don't. I mean, I would hardly call myself a big media presence, but that's my Instagram. So
Well,
you can follow me there.
maybe just people want to kind of follow your story and
Yeah,
keep in
that's right.
touch with you as you move along in your career and your path and your journey.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be great. I mean, there's
cool.
there's so many people that have helped me get to where I am. So I'm happy
Absolutely.
to listen to
Thank
anybody that reaches out.
thank you again for your time and your dedication to the sport and to the kids and to the next generation. Really appreciate your time. Thanks, Max.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you on the next one. So here's a funny story about how I got to that match. So I'm flying into New York and I had no idea that that match was going on. And I land like at 1:30 and I pull out my Instagram and I follow Zhang, Michael Zhang,
Yeah.
and he posts, "Hey, we're playing a match, 3 o'clock." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, so I just
That's awesome.
like I take an Uber to the hotel, drop my stuff, take an Uber to the match, and I get there
Yeah.
right as the match is starting. It was so
Man, we
much
were
fun.
we were we were on pins and needles trying to see whether he was even going to play that
Yeah.
match because obviously he was in Australia that week, and
Yes.
I know it sounds crazy, but we wanted him to play because we wanted to play Columbia at full strength.
Right.
But unfortunately he didn't. I think he was just getting back from that trip, and it ended up being a great match. Still,
Yeah.
you saw it. It was electric in there. It was not an easy place to play. Columbia knows how to bring out a very very exciting fan base.